The black ocean of space stretched endless, silent and cold. Stars burned like tiny candles in the dark, but there was no warmth for her. She stood on the ruins of her world, a widow, an alien, a mother. Her tall figure bent under invisible weight, her skin pale like moonstone, her eyes glowing faint with sorrow. Around her, the ground cracked and broken, the skeleton of a city that once lived. Now silent as a graveyard, she was alone except for the children. Small shadows moved around her. Thin bodies, wide eyes, no laughter. Children who had no home. No father, no future. They clung to her legs, to her arms, to her dress made from old torn cloth. They whispered in low voices, hungry, scared, and tired. Some cried, but their tears fell on dust, with no one to comfort them. She touched their faces with long fingers, soft as if trying to give them hope, but her heart carried only pain. Her name was unknown to humans. Her kind was called enemy, invader, monster. Yet she was none of those things anymore. She was simply a widow, a mother, a lonely heart in a dying world. Every night she looked up at the sky. Every night she whispered into the stars, "Please, someone hear me." But the stars never answered, until one night when she found the courage to send her cry far beyond. She repaired the broken transmitter from the wreck of her husband's ship. The machine was old, half-dead, but still breathing sparks. Her trembling hands pressed the last working button. A voice, cracked but strong, traveled across the stars. "Human, hear me. Adopt my homeless children. End my loneliness. Do not fear me. I am only a mother. My wish is not war. My wish is only peace." The message went out. She did not know. If anyone would listen, maybe humans would laugh. Maybe they would ignore. Or maybe they would come with weapons to finish what war had started. But she had no choice. For her children, she had to try. The children looked at her with big eyes. They did not understand the words, but they felt the fear and hope mixed inside. Her one child tugged at her hand. His voice small, shaking. "Will they come, Mother?" Her throat ached. She forced a smile. "Yes. Someone will come. They must." The ground shook far away. The old ruins moaned as if ghosts were restless. Smoke lifted into the dark sky from fires that never died since the last battle. She closed her eyes. She could still see her husband, a strong warrior with proud shoulders, falling in the dust. His last breath stolen by human fire. She had hated them once. She had cursed their name. But now she begged them. The stars above were sharp like blades. Her voice echoed in her mind again. "Adopt my children, and end my loneliness." Far across the galaxy, on a human ship, a signal alarm rang. The crew woke up. A strange voice filled their cabin, her voice. Broken, sad, but strong enough to shake human hearts. They listened. They argued. Was it a trap? Was it a trick of the enemy? Or was it something else? Something real? The captain narrowed his eyes. The voice repeated again and again. "Adopt my homeless children. Human, please." The crew looked at each other in silence. In that silence lived suspicion, but also curiosity. Back on the broken planet, the widow held her children close. She could feel the signal burning through space. She could feel eyes on her, somewhere far away. Maybe the humans were listening now. Maybe they were already deciding her fate. She pressed her forehead to the dusty ground. Her body shook as she whispered one last time, "Please, human, do not see me as enemy. See me as mother." The children huddled together under the broken sky, their stomachs empty, their bodies weak, but their hearts waiting. A strange light glimmered far away, moving across the dark horizon. Was it only another falling star? Or was it the answer she had been waiting for? Her breath caught. Her eyes widened. She stood up, holding the smallest child in her arms. The wind carried the sound of something approaching. The universe held its breath. Would the humans come to save them, or to destroy what little was left? And so the story began. The human ship cut through the silent sea of stars, a silver arrow in the darkness. Its engines hummed low, like the heartbeat of a giant. Inside, the crew gathered around the glowing screen, where the alien widow's message played again and again. Adopt my children. End my loneliness. The words were not just sound. They were heavy, carrying pain across light years. Some of the crew felt their chest tighten. Others narrowed their eyes with suspicion. The captain, a tall man with gray at his temples, stood still. His face was calm, but inside him questions burned. Was this the voice of a mother or the voice of an enemy waiting in the shadows? The young pilot broke the silence. Sir, we cannot ignore it. She speaks truth, then those children will die. The engineer shook his head sharply. Or we will die if we go. Don't you see? This could be a trap, a clever one. Shmee. She knows we humans value children. She uses that weakness. The captain's eyes stayed fixed on the stars. He did not answer yet. He remembered the war. He remembered how many humans had fallen because of this alien race. Blood still fresh in memory. Could peace be born from the ashes of so much hate? The signal pulsed again, the widow's voice trembling but strong. Human, please. My wish is not war. My wish is peace. The crew stared at the screen. Some hearts softened, some hearts hardened. Sir, the doctor spoke softly. Even if it is dangerous, what if it is real? What if they are just children? Hungry. Alone. Can we really turn away? The captain finally turned. His voice was low but firm. Prepare descent. The crew gasped. The decision was made. The ship angled toward the broken planet. The stars shifted as the vessel entered the pull of gravity. Clouds of ash swirled like ghosts. The planet's surface came closer. Burnt land, shattered towers, fields of black stone. Landing in 2 minutes, the pilot whispered. Her hands shook on the controls. The closer they came, the more silence pressed on them. No radio signals, no life detected except her voice. That lonely voice still calling. Then they saw her. On the surface, standing tall among ruins, she waited. A single figure, her long shadow stretched across the cracked earth. Children clung to her legs, small and fragile shapes. She did not move. She did not hide. She simply stood, waiting. The human crew froze at the sight. She's really there. The pilot whispered. She looks different. The doctor said, not like the soldiers we fought. The engineer's jaw tightened. Don't be fooled. Look at those children. Too many of them. Too quiet. Something's wrong. The captain raised his hand. Stay sharp. Weapons ready, but hold fire unless I order. The ship touched down on the dust, its landing legs sinking slightly into the dead soil. The air outside shimmered with heat and smoke. The ramp opened slowly, groaning as if afraid of what waited. The crew stepped out, their suits heavy, weapons hidden but close. The widow did not move. Our children stared with glowing eyes too big for their faces. The smallest one held a broken doll made of cloth and wire. For a moment, silence ruled. Human eyes met alien eyes. Then the widow bowed her head, a gesture of peace. Her voice carried over the wind, soft but clear. Welcome, human. I have nothing but my children. If you came for war, take my life. But if you came for mercy, take them. The crew felt their hearts tremble. The captain stepped forward, the dust rising under his boots. His hand hovered near his weapon, but he did not draw it. His voice was steady. "We came to listen. Speak your truth." The widow lifted her eyes, and for the first time, her glowing gaze met his. In those eyes was not the fire of an enemy, but the endless sorrow of a mother. Far above, the ship's sensors beeped softly. Unseen by the crew, something else moved. In the shadows of the broken city, watching, waiting, and the humans had just entered the game. The humans stood in a half-circle, their boots pressing into the cracked soil. Smoke rose from broken towers behind them. The children's wide eyes shone in the dim light, watching, silent as statues. Only the widow moved, her long arms wrapped around the smallest child, and her lips trembled as if words had been waiting for centuries. "Why call us?" the captain asked, his voice steady but sharp. "You know humans and your kind were enemies. You know what war has done." The widow lifted her head slowly. Her voice was low, almost breaking, but every syllable cut into the silence like a blade. "Yes, I know war. I know death. I know the sound of fire in the sky and the scream of a husband who never comes back." Her words made the crew shift uncomfortably. Even the hard-eyed engineer lowered his gaze for a moment. She pointed toward the ruins behind her. "Look at this place. Once it was city. Children played. Mothers sang. We dreamed of tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is dust." The crew glanced around. Black walls stood broken. Streets were nothing but rubble. No birds, no animals, no water. Just silence and the echo of what used to be life. The widow's eyes glowed faint blue as she went on. "My husband fought in the war. He believed he was saving us. He believed in victory. But victory did not come. He fell, burned under human fire. His last words were not of hate. They were of me. Of our children." She bent her head, pressing her forehead against the child in her arms. The little one reached tiny fingers to touch her cheek, wiping a tear that glowed like crystal. "I am a widow now," she whispered. "And these children, most of them not even my own blood. They are orphans of war. They lost their fathers, their mothers. They found me, and I could not turn them away. I became mother to them all. But I cannot feed them. I cannot heal them. I cannot give them a future." The words were simple, too simple. Yet the weight of them pulled at the humans like gravity. The doctor's hand tightened into a fist. She looked at the children. Their faces were thin, their eyes too tired for their age. One boy's lips trembled as if he wanted to speak, but no sound came out. The widow's voice grew sharper now, not with anger, but with desperation. "So I send my cry across the stars. To you, to my enemy. Because who else will listen? My own people are gone. My world is gone. Only humans remain strong enough to care for them. I do not ask for my life. I ask for theirs." Her words hung in the air like smoke. The engineer spat into the dust. "It is a trick. She wants pity, so we lower our guard. Then she will strike. It is always the same." But the widow did not rise in anger. She only looked at him, her eyes endless and tired. "If I wanted revenge, human, would I beg? Would I kneel? Would I place my children before your guns?" And then she did it. She lowered herself onto her knees, still holding the smallest child. The others huddled close, clinging to her dress, their eyes wet. Dust rose around them like a shroud. The crew felt their breath catch. Even the captain, hard as steel, felt the weight of the moment. But then suddenly something strange. The oldest child, a girl with sharp eyes, stepped forward. She looked at the humans, then at the widow, and her voice cracked in warning. "Don't trust her fully." The crew froze. The captain's eyes narrowed. The doctor gasped. The engineer smirked, as if his suspicion was proven. The widow's head turned sharply. "Child, why?" But the girl fell silent again, backing into the group of children. She did not explain. She only stared at the humans with an expression far too old for her small face. The air grew heavy. Shadows moved among the ruins as if something else listened. The captain's hand slid closer to his weapon. Your story moves the heart, widow. But your child's warning cannot be ignored. The widow's face paled. For a second, fear crossed her glowing eyes. Then she whispered, almost too soft to hear, "Not all secrets are mine to tell." The humans looked at each other, their hearts torn between mercy and fear. The widow's story was true. Yes, but the shadow of something hidden now walked between her words, and the ruins seemed to breathe, as if the past itself was not finished. The night came quickly on the broken world. Darkness spread over the ruins like a heavy cloak. The humans had set a small camp near their ship, lights glowing faintly against the endless black. The children huddled together near the widow, their shapes curled like shadows. The crew took turns watching, though no one felt safe enough to sleep deeply. At first, silence ruled. Only the soft hum of the ship's engines and the wind moving through broken towers filled the air. But then small whispers began. They came from the children. The humans heard them speaking in low voices, words too soft, too fast, like secrets carried on the wind. Their eyes reflected the camp's lights, glowing like fragments of stars. The pilot leaned closer to the doctor and whispered, "Do you hear that? What are they saying?" The doctor shook her head slowly. "I don't know. It doesn't sound like language I've studied. But it doesn't sound playful either." One child suddenly stopped whispering and looked directly at the humans. His eyes were wide, unblinking. For a moment, he smiled too. Sharp, too sudden, then turned back and pressed his face against the widow's dress. The engineer muttered, "I told you." Something's wrong with them. But the widow did not scold the children. She only rocked them gently, humming a broken song. Her voice was soft, full of sorrow, but underneath it carried something else, a rhythm almost like a code. Later, as the humans tried to rest, one of the younger crew woke suddenly. He had heard footsteps near the ruins. Quiet, careful, circling. He grabbed his weapon and scanned the darkness, but saw nothing, just shifting shadows and crumbled walls. Then there, a movement. A figure standing far away between broken pillars. Tall, thin, watching. When he blinked, it was gone. He returned to camp, his heart beating fast. He wanted to report it, but when he saw the widow staring at him with her glowing eyes, he froze. She said nothing, just watched him until he sat down again. Hours passed. The humans pretended to relax, but no one could escape the heavy feeling. The ruins seemed alive, breathing, watching. Even the ground felt uneasy under their boots. Then, without warning, one of the children slipped away. The doctor noticed first. "Where is the small girl, the one with the sharp eyes?" she whispered. Everyone looked around. She was gone. They searched quickly, weapons ready, scanning the ruins with lights. The night swallowed their voices. And then they found her standing on a broken wall, staring at the sky. The captain shouted, "Come down. It's dangerous." But the girl did not move. She lifted her hand, pointing at the stars. Her voice was flat, calm, like a voice older than her body. "They are coming." The humans froze. "Who?" the captain demanded. The girl turned her head slowly, her glowing eyes locking with his. "The ones who watch. The ones mother cannot stop." The widow ran forward, grabbing the child's arm. "Quiet," she hissed, her voice breaking. "Do not speak of them." But it was too late. The words were already in the night. The wind rose suddenly, carrying a sound not born of nature. A low hum, vibrating through the ruins. Stones shifted. Distant echoes rattled broken steel. The children clung to the widow, their whispers now louder, faster, as if answering something unseen. The humans looked at each other, fear tightening their throats. The captain raised his weapon. "What is out there?" The widow's face was pale. She held the girl close, her voice trembling. "Not all orphans are innocent. Not all shadows are empty. The war left more than ruins. It left watchers." And in the silence that followed, a shape moved among the ruins. Not child. Not mother. Not human. Something else. The ruins were silent again, but the silence no longer felt empty. It pressed. Heavy on the humans, like unseen eyes crawling over their skin. The widow had pulled the children close, whispering to them in a tongue the humans could not follow. The oldest girl's warning, "They are coming," echoed in every ear. The captain decided he had heard enough. "We search the ruins," he ordered. "No more waiting. Something here is hidden, and we will find it." The crew spread out, lights cutting through the dark corners of broken buildings. Dust rose with every step. Shadows stretched long across walls marked with strange symbols. Then the engineer called out, "Ah!" His voice shook, though he tried to hide it. "Captain, come here. You need to see this." Behind a half-buried tower, they found a narrow passage leading underground. The walls were scorched black, but strange energy marks still pulsed faintly. The air was colder, heavier, as if time itself had stopped in that place. The widow rushed forward, blocking the path. "No," she cried, her voice breaking. "You must not go there." The captain's eyes narrowed. "Why? What are you hiding?" She trembled, clutching the children tighter. "It is not safe. It is not meant for you." The doctor stepped closer, her voice softer. "If we are to help, we need to understand. Please, let us see." For a long moment, the widow's glowing eyes stared into the humans. Then she lowered her head, defeated. "Very well, but you will not thank me for what you find." They pushed past her and entered the passage. The deeper they went, the colder it became. The air hummed with invisible energy. Their lights revealed twisted metal, shattered bones, and walls covered in carvings maps. Battles, endless fire. At the bottom lay a chamber. It was not large, but its walls glowed faintly with holograms still alive after years. Blue light painted the faces of the humans as images flickered. Alien soldiers marching. Ships burning, Earth cities in flames. The doctor gasped. The engineer cursed. "Is this?" The pilot began. "Yes," the captain said grimly. "This is a war room." The widow stood in the doorway, her figure tall against the flickering lights. Her voice was heavy, each word carrying a lifetime of sorrow. "My husband built this chamber. He was no simple soldier. He was a general. This place was his heart, his dream, his revenge. He wanted to burn Earth as Earth burned us." Her hands shook as she touched one of the glowing walls. A hologram sparked, showing her husband's face, fierce, commanding, eyes burning with hatred. The children flinched at the sight. "I did not lie," the widow whispered. "I am only a mother. Now, but I will not hide the truth. He planned war that would never end. His blood wanted your destruction. I begged him to stop. He did not listen. Now he is gone, and I remain with his ghosts." The captain stared hard at her, and the children. "Are they truly yours, or his army waiting to grow?" Her voice cracked. "They are children. Innocent, yes. They carry his blood, some of them. But others are orphans of war. I gathered them, not for battle, but for love. I swear to you, human, I only want them to live." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The doctor's face softened, but the engineer shook his head. Then the oldest girl stepped forward again. Her sharp eyes reflected the glowing holograms. She spoke, her voice strange. Deeper than a child's should be. Not all of us are innocent, Captain. The war is not gone. It sleeps inside some of us. Inside me. Words struck the humans like a blade. Even the widow gasped, clutching her chest. No, do not say that. But the girl only stared, her face calm, almost cold. Mother cannot protect us from what we are. The chamber lights flickered violently, as if the room itself had heard. Her. Images of fire and destruction repeated on the walls, brighter, sharper, as if the past demanded to rise again. The captain raised his weapon slowly. Now we know the truth, he muttered. But the truth only makes the choice harder. And in the shadows behind the holograms, something shifted, something that was not part of the recording. A tall figure, half glimpsed, half formed, watching. Them all, the humans, froze. The chamber shook as if the ruins themselves had woken. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the holograms flickered between past and present burning ships. Screaming soldiers, children crying. The humans stood, surrounded by ghosts of war, and in the center of it all, the widow clutched her children, her eyes begging, her body trembling. The captain's hand tightened around his weapon. His voice was cold, but his heart wavered. Widow, your husband planned to destroy Earth. Your child admits the war still lives inside her. If we take them, we may carry the seed of war into our own world. The widow fell to her knees, her long arms wrapping all the children close. Her voice cracked like glass. Then kill me, human. But do not punish them for the blood they did not choose. They are hungry, weak, lost. If you leave them here, they will die. Is death more safe than mercy? The doctor's face softened, tears rising in her eyes. She stepped forward, lowering her weapon. She is right, Captain. I have seen war's children before. Not all inherit hate. Some can heal. If we abandon them, we become the monsters we feared. But the engineer's face was hard as steel. He pointed at the oldest girl, who stared at them with unblinking eyes. Look at her. She already speaks like a soldier, not a child. She warned us herself. If we bring them to Earth, how many will grow into enemies? How many wars will we plant in our own soil? The tension was sharp, cutting every word like a blade. The crew was split hearts divided between compassion and survival. The captain turned slowly, scanning his team. Fear in some eyes, hope in others. The future hung on his next choice, and then the watchers made their move. From the shadows, a low hum rose, vibrating the chamber walls. Figures stepped forward tall, faceless shapes of black energy, their bodies twisting like smoke, yet heavy as stone. They had no mouths, but the humans heard their voices inside their heads. Leave the children. They are ours. Blood of war belongs to war. The children screamed, clinging tighter to the widow. The oldest girl's eyes widened in terror now, not coldness. She cried out, "Mother, they come for us." The widow held them close, shouting with all the strength in her broken voice, "No, they are not yours. They are mine." The humans raised weapons, their lights trembling against the dark forms. But the watchers did not attack. They only loomed, waiting, patient, as if certain of victory. The captain's heart pounded. He had thought his decision was between leaving or saving. But now he realized his choice was life or surrender, mercy or fear, humanity or survival. He took a step forward, his voice breaking through the storm. If we take them, they may bring danger. If we leave them, they are doomed. And if we give them to you, his words cut sharp, then we betray everything that makes us human. The doctor nodded fiercely. We cannot become like them. We must protect the children. The engineer growled. You doom us all if you do. The captain raised his hand for silence. His eyes locked on the widow, then the children, then the faceless watchers. His voice was final, unshaken. we take them. The Watcher's hum grew louder, the walls trembling as if the planet itself raged at the decision. The widow gasped, tears of light running down her face. She bowed her head, whispering, "Thank you." "Human?" The oldest girl stared at the captain. For a moment, her face unreadable. Then she whispered, almost too soft to hear, "You will regret, or you will be remembered." The chamber cracked above them. Dust fell like rain. The choice had been made, but its wait was only beginning, and the Watchers did not fade. They followed. The ruins screamed as the chamber began to collapse. Cracks split the walls, and the Watchers pressed closer, their tall shapes bending like shadows pulled by a storm. The children cried, clinging to the widow. The humans fired their weapons, beams of light cutting the dark, but the shots passed through the Watchers as if they were smoke. "Go!" the captain shouted. "Back to the ship!" The crew pulled the children, lifting them into their arms, guiding them through the falling dust. The widow ran behind, her long steps fast but trembling. The Watchers followed, their hum shaking the ground. Outside, the night sky burned with lightning, not born of weather. The ruins lit up as if the dead city itself was angry. The humans rushed across the broken earth toward their ship, every step echoing like thunder. The ramp lowered. The crew pushed the children inside. The pilot screamed from the cockpit, "Engines ready, hurry!" The widow reached the ramp, carrying the smallest child. But then she stopped. The captain turned back, shouting, "Move! Get inside!" Her glowing eyes met his. Tears ran down her face like shining rivers. She placed the child in his arms. Her voice was soft, steady, almost calm. "No, human. My place is here. My children's place is with you." The captain's chest tightened. "We promise to take you too." The widow shook her head. Behind her, the Watchers loomed, their shapes stretching higher, their hum rising like a scream. She spread her arms wide, blocking them from the ramp. Her last words carried like fire across the night. "End my loneliness." By saving them, the ramp closed. The humans pulled the children close as the ship lifted into the sky. The ground cracked open below, swallowing the ruins. The last thing they saw was the widow's tall figure, glowing against the darkness, standing unbroken before the Watchers. Then the dust consumed her. The ship broke through the clouds, fire trailing its wings as it soared into the stars. Inside, the children huddled, their faces pale, their eyes wide. Some cried, some were silent. The doctor comforted them, whispering soft words. But one child, the oldest girl, stood apart. She looked out the window at the vanishing planet. Her sharp eyes did not blink. The captain came beside her. For a moment, silence stretched between. Then, she whispered, her voice calm, too calm for her age. Mother was brave, but she was wrong about one thing. The captain frowned. "What do you mean?" The girl turned her glowing eyes toward him. "War does not die with a soldier. It travels, it grows, and now it travels with us." Her words cut like a blade. The humans stared, their hearts heavy. The ship flew on into the endless night, carrying hope, fear, and a future that was no longer certain. Behind them, the ruined world fell silent. But in the dark corners of space, unseen eyes opened. The Watchers had not been defeated. They had only begun to follow. And so the story ended. Or perhaps it had only just begun.